All right, let's dive into this really deep and fascinating text. It presents a cosmic story that's going to reframe how you think about creation, free will, and, the very nature of love itself. So here's the really wild idea at the heart of this whole thing. It suggests that the entire history of the universe is basically the answer to one single profound paradox. What we usually see as a reaction to a problem, well, what if it was actually the foundation for the whole system from the get-go? Okay, so before we can even get to the grand solution, we have to wrap our heads around the fundamental problem it's trying to solve. And it's a paradox, right at the very heart of creation, that at first glance just seems, well, completely unsolvable. The source material is really clear on this. It says God's entire system, his whole government, is built on one single principle: love. Love for him, the creator, and love for your neighbor. That's it. Everything else flows from this one single essential command. But here's the crucial catch. This is what the text calls the fundamental dilemma for any creature with free will. It argues that we as created beings just don't have the capacity to, generate love out of thin air. We can only reflect it or respond to it once it's shown to us. And right here, the paradox just snaps into focus. You have a direct command to do something that creatures are fundamentally incapable of starting on their own. It almost looks like a system that's designed for inevitable failure, doesn't it? And that raises this massive question about justice, right? I mean, if every single creature with free will is given a command they can't possibly fulfill on their own, aren't they just doomed? Well, the source argues that the answer to that lies in a plan that was conceived before time even began. So how in the world does the text get around this? Well, it claims the fall of angels, the fall of humanity, none of it was a surprise. It was actually an anticipated event in a much, much bigger design. This wasn't plan B, it was always plan A. Now, what's so wild about this is the order. Get this. The source says the decision for the cross happened before the creation of any beings who would ever need it. The solution was literally in place before the problem was even possible. So think about that. This wasn't some last-minute rescue mission scrambled together after things went wrong. No, this was the foundational premise of creation itself. The entire cosmic drama was built on this pre-planned act of sacrificial love. Okay, so how was this incredible, pre-planned demonstration of love supposed to actually work? The text describes this unbelievable journey for the second-person God, the co-creator, to solve the paradox from inside the system. You see, the plan required the creator to enter the very system he created, but not as its owner, as a participant. He had to become one of the creatures to give them the one thing they desperately needed. And this was the only way, according to the text, to bridge that huge gap between the divine command and the creature's inability. It wasn't about changing the rules. It was about giving them the missing piece they needed to actually follow the rules. So the climax of this entire cosmic plan, as you might guess, is the cross. But its purpose is presented as being way, way bigger than just forgiving human sin. It's about perfecting free will for the entire universe. Think of it like this. The cross is framed as the ultimate public piece of evidence. It's submitted an open court for all of creation to see, including the angels who witnessed that very first rebellion. This was a demonstration for every being with free will. So the crucial point here is that this proof, it's designed to answer every single lingering question about God's character that might lead a creature to rebel. It shows, once and for all, that the command to love isn't some impossible trap, but the only real path to life. You see, once a creature sees and truly understands this definitive proof, the source argues they can then freely choose God without any doubt, without any reservation, and that perfects their free will. Their choice is no longer based on incomplete data, but on the full, crystal-clear revelation of God's character. And it completely flips the script on why anyone obeys. It shifts the whole basis of allegiance from being transactional, I'll obey so I don't get punished, or I'll obey to get a reward, to being relational. It becomes a joyful response to a love that's been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. And that, the text says, is the only foundation stable enough for eternity. All right, so let's talk about the end game. What does this all lead to? What's the final state of a universe where free will has been perfected by this ultimate demonstration of love? While the completion of this plan fundamentally transforms space-time itself, according to this text, this isn't just a patch or a quick fix. It's a complete system overhaul that removes the very possibility of sin and death forever.
And that number, 0, it says it all, doesn't it? It just powerfully illustrates how final this solution is. Once that proof is established and fully understood, the motivation for rebellion is just gone. The problem of sin isn't just managed, it's permanently solved.
And this is it. This is the ultimate destination of the whole cosmic journey the source describes. A universe where freedom and love are in perfect, beautiful harmony, with every single creature joyfully living out the very purpose for which they were made. This kind of gives us a picture of how all the pieces fit together into this complete, stable reality. You can see perfected free will is the biggest piece of the pie, but it's totally built on that proven foundation of God's love and justice. Once you establish those two things, sin is just logically eliminated. So the real takeaway here is a whole new framework for thinking about these ancient ideas. The text is basically saying that true freedom isn't just the ability to choose. It's the ability to choose with a perfect, complete understanding of who and what you're choosing. And that leaves us with a really big question to chew on, right? Is purpose something that's just given to us, finished and complete? Or is it something that has to be achieved through a journey, one that often involves an incredible cost? It's something to think about as we finish our look into this really intricate and thought-provoking source.